and it was so expressive in his music.
John Lennon loved walking the streets of New York. He enjoyed fans approaching him for autographs.
One such fan was Mark David Chapman, a failed charity worker turned suicidal obsessive with a history of mental problems.
He was completely psychotic, and he had this obsession with John Lennon. And a lot of these murderers, they have this desire to be known for something grand.
On December 8, 1980, Mark David Chapman waited all day outside John Lennon's Manhattan apartment, the Dakota.
Lennon was coming home with Yoko Ono. We were coming home from a recording session. A fan stepped out of the darkness and shot him.
Chapman crouched combat style and yelled out, "Mr. Lennon." He fired 5 times.
John yelled, "I'm shot," and he staggered into the vestibule and collapsed right there.
2 shots struck the singer in the back, and 2 lodged in his left shoulder. The fatal shot pierced his aorta. Police arrived almost immediately.
They couldn't even wait for the ambulance, threw him right in the radio car and took him right over to Roosevelt Hospital.
The staff in the emergency department said, no, this is impossible, this is another person. And only when Yoko Ono followed about a minute later did the staff say, oh my God, this is the real thing.
Lennon lost more than 80% of his blood. Chapman used hollow point bullets designed to inflict maximum and final damage.
In spite of all of our efforts, blood transfusion, surgical procedures, intravenous line, ventilation, breathing tubes, John Lennon was pronounced dead.
After the shooting, Chapman threw off his hat and coat and sat down on the sidewalk. He pulled out a copy of The Catcher in the Rye and began to read. Police arrested him on the spot. Chapman planned to plead not guilty by reason of insanity.
The only defense that had any chance of prevailing was that he was delusional, that he was suffering from a mental illness.
2 weeks before his trial, Mark David Chapman told his lawyer that he spoke to God.
Mark is still a very religious Christian person and believes that he is going to, quote, go to heaven.
Chapman was sentenced to 20 years to life for second-degree murder.
There's a very good chance that Mark David Chapman will never see the light of day outside of a prison cell.
Chapman admitted he became a murderer as a way to get attention, cursed by feelings that he was a nobody.
Clearly, there are better ways of going about achieving fame and a name for oneself.
What happened to Lennon was shocking because it wasn't happening to a president or a political leader. It was happening to a singer.
In a 1960s interview, Lennon was asked how he expected to die. He paused and then said with a smile, "I'll probably be popped off by some loony."